have a special guest in studio this morning, Congressman Brian Bilbray. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Nice to see you. Great to be in. I flew in yesterday at 7 in the middle of the rainstorm, so it was a great greeting to be able to get back home for the weekend.
Diego, right?
Welcome home. Absolutely.
Well, we want to start with a special event that you're a part of today. It's a food drive, a community food drive, and you know, this is the time of year where we start doing these things. They take on a different meaning as we get to the holiday season.
Especially now. I mean, now we're seeing these tough times with unemployment, 1 in 10 San Diegans unemployed, families going through a real stress period, and that tough times are kind of running into the holiday seasons where we start thinking about giving back and sort of celebrating those of us that are a little luckier. And what we've done has been able to get the community is actually kind of putting those two together. And this morning, between 9 and 12, you can take any non-perishable food, as long as it's not in glass, take it over to the Del Mar Fair, and right at the Solana Gate, which is right off of Via de la Valle. You just literally come off of 5, go west, and when you see the gate, you turn into it to the south. And you can drop off and sort of start the Christmas season, start the holiday season off early with the right kind of approach, especially with how tough the situation is for so many families in San Diego.
Absolutely. All right, there's the information up on your screen if you'd like to stop by, obviously.
Come on out. We'll be out there.
Yeah, stop by, talk to the congressman about surfing.
And we'll be checking out the big south swell coming in, so that's obviously an important thing.
There is a high surf advisory today.
Really is. I mean, in Coronado North Beach, we'll probably be catching a nice swell.
Right?
Hey, I wanted to ask you, I wanted to ask you about the Solyndra hearings in Washington. I know you're a part of that subcommittee. Coming up, Energy Secretary Chu is going to appear before the subcommittee in a couple weeks. That's kind of a big deal. What do you anticipate from his testimony?
Well, I hope he has the explanations about how you can not only make the mistake, and I think the mistake was, you know, you have people in Washington that hear words and it ends up being a rational reaction. Oh, solar. All solar is good. Not all solar is good. There's great technology. There's stuff that are scams. And I think what happened was the administration got wrapped into this, that everything's the same and we'll just throw $500 million into it. The other issue was the fact that when it was going bankrupt, they broke the law, the rules that said you cannot put the taxpayer behind any other debtor. The taxpayer should get paid back first. And there people broke those rules. What I'm worried about is that Secretary Chu, of the Energy Secretary, is going to be thrown under the bus by the politicians because he's not a political operative. He is a scientist. He knows the facts. And I'm worried that Republicans and Democrats are going to get together for political reasons, throw this guy under the bus, which I think Secretary Chu could do more to fulfill the mandate of the Energy Department than any other secretary. But I think politics is going to get in the way. So I'm going to be a Republican there to try to defend him from being basically used as a sacrificial lamb for both political parties.
I just want to do a follow-up. There's good solar, bad solar. You just told us that the mayor of San Diego, Jerry Sanders, is out looking at warehouses looking for good solar.
Mayor Sanders is doing a lot of work that he's getting no credit for. You know, his attitude is just do the job. To heck with the politics. He's the kind of guy you really ought to be looking to. And locally, he's out finding, warehouses that haven't been used in San Diego to develop solar panels to be built in San Diego to be put out in the Imperial Valley. All of these connections to you hear about these solar farms, make them in San Diego. Jerry's doing that. And this is the kind of leadership we need in this country. Not somebody who just writes a check and throws $500 million and says, oh, the problem should be cured. But personally get involved, get the regulations out of the way, get the government working with the private sector to provide that environmental clean energy option, rather than thinking that you can just buy it with a blank check or just wish it. So I think Jerry ought to get the credits. I think the way the administration handles Solyndra should be getting the hits. And I just want to make sure that the right people got the hit. And right now it looks like that the Secretary of Energy was jumped over by the Vice President's office to be able to move something because it was a good political opportunity, not necessarily a good investment for the environment or for the American taxpayer.
Congressman, we talk so much about creating jobs. We just touched on it, talking about the community food drive. And, a lot of viewers have written in, they talk, we want to know more. We want more stories about jobs. How do you get jobs? Because right now, a lot of people feel in Congress it's a Republican and a Democratic thing. No one's coming together to actually create jobs. What's your vision right now? How do you see this country going right now as far as job creation? What do we need to do to get people back to work?
Well, I'll tell you one thing we do is that we have an opportunity, and our high-tech companies in San Diego brought this to me, our biotech, the people who are doing health research, making major breakthroughs in health research, saying, Brian, Congressman, there is $2 trillion of American money overseas that could come back to create jobs here. So rather than what we're seeing happen in the past in Washington, that we borrow money from China and steal from our grandchildren and try to stimulate the economy, if we just say, look, we're not going to punish American businesses to bring back the money. If they put it in for R&D, for health and high tech, if they bring it in for construction, if they bring it in to expand manufacturing here rather than overseas, we won't hit it with a 35% tax. That's the kind of thing that Democrats and Republicans ought to work on. My problem is you've got Democrats that are saying we'd rather have a tax than jobs, and I got Republicans that say, oh, we don't want to give any preference to research and development and construction. And both sides are wrong on this issue. Right now, we have a huge resource that could be creating American jobs on American soil with American money. And the politics is in the way right now, and that's what I'm trying to break down.
You look at a company like GE that does a lot of its business now in Brazil because it's cheaper, they're getting better return on their investment. And they're not creating as many jobs here because it's just too expensive, as you say.
No, and we're the only country in the world, except for Poland, that taxes people for money made overseas that are brought back into the country. And the only reason why Poland does it is because they adopted our policy when they threw off communism. So I think this time that Washington needs to start changing our attitudes and our regs, rather than expect the consumer to change or the business community to change. Maybe we got to look at participating. And I think when it comes to the economy, it comes to the environment. Those of us in the government structure need to learn new tricks and learn to do things differently too, so everybody works together, like Jerry Sanders is doing at trying to make sure that jobs in the economy and the environment are served by government being a partner, not just being a blank check or just a regulatory obstruction.